Welcome back to the channel and welcome to FOMC day. It's going to be a fun day, hopefully. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. You're watching the Trading Phoenix, where I trade live in my challenge account through Funded Pro every open market day. I do this so that there's complete full disclosure from someone who's trying to go from absolutely nothing to becoming funded, profitable, and then eventually a full-time day trader. I decided to do this because there's a lot of stuff out there in social media about becoming a full-time day trader, and most of it is bullshit. So um, and a lot of it is missing key aspects to this journey, which is a very difficult and long journey. And so I do this every day to come on here so that I can provide the full scope and full picture of what that is like for somebody who, again, is coming from nothing, trying to become profitable and eventually a full-time trader. So welcome to the channel, everyone. Thank you to my subscribers. I appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Do all those things. Link in the description also for my free Discord. Love to see you there as well. So today we have FOMC. Today's the end of their 2-day get together. We will have a rate decision at 2 p.m. this afternoon, and at 2:30 we will have our normal conference where Jerome Powell comes out and speaks about the rate decision and so on and so forth. So usually on rate decision days, we get a little bit of volatility, some sideways trading until we get that decision. And then we get some pretty decent wild movements in the market during the conference, depending on the questions and the answers. So it'll be interesting to see. I will be here live this afternoon at 1:55 p.m. so that we can catch the market reaction for the rate decision at 2 p.m. And then we'll hang out through the conference for however long that is, usually an hour or so, maybe a little longer. But I will be live again this afternoon to catch all of that. So we got about 30 seconds here until New York session open. You can see yesterday that we did end up just hanging around our 19.5 zone here, which is what I thought was going to happen once we made our large move to the downside yesterday, first thing in the morning. We just consolidated around our 19.5, which is exactly what I was expecting to happen. So I didn't take any trades yesterday. Today, we did move into this area of imbalance that was left behind on the 15-minute chart that you can see here. We're just at the bottom range here. Here's market open. And let's see where we go from here. I don't expect us to really make any huge moves. And if we do, I would expect a retracement. I don't think that we're going to really trade outside of this range that we've been in for quite some time until we get, decisions and after the conference later. Then we might get some movement in one direction or another. But so let's see what we get here. I would like to see us, fill this area of imbalance a little bit more. And if we do that, and then we look like we're getting a bearish move, then I might take that trade back down to this area here where we've been sitting for most of the day, pretty much all day yesterday. I think this 19.5 level is a level that the market agrees on is a good level right now until we get some kind of catalyst to push us in one direction or another. Still a lot of uncertainty out there. I think right now the biggest thing in the news is the Ukraine war still. Tariffs have kind of dipped down a little bit, but that doesn't mean that can't come into the picture. I'm sure there will be a lot of questions today at the conference about the tariffs and what what Powell expects. But usually he does a really good job of skirting around these questions because he doesn't, he doesn't speculate on pretty much anything. He talks about what the facts are and what the data is already, and he doesn't really speculate on the future. So we'll see what happens there. All right. Looks like already we're getting some pushback here. There's been a lot of talk about the Ukraine war and Trump speaking with Putin and speaking with um, the Ukrainian president and his name is Zelensky. But they haven't come to an agreement yet. And last night there were attacks on both sides still. So that's I think something that the market and the economy is also watching very closely as we're getting near the goal line, hopefully, of a ceasefire and then some deals. But it seems like neither side, neither Zelensky or Putin, want to resolve this. At least not in the way that the rest of the world is trying to, help them with. Both sides are going to have to uh, give a little, right? It's not going to be one sided. That's been made very clear, I think, at this point, because neither side is going to agree to a one sided resolution. And I think that's the issue right now is, you know, Zelensky wants everything, and so does Putin, honestly, but we'll see. Honestly, I would imagine that at some point, if these two can't get their shit together, Trump throws up his hands and says, "You know what? You're on your own then. We're pulling everything out, all of our money, all of our resources." And honestly, some of the, European countries are following suit. There's been a few of them that have already stated that, they're pulling their money and resources out as well. Um, and they're pulling their money and resources out of Ukraine because really right now it's Zelensky that's being unreasonable. He thinks he's going to get everything back that was already taken, and I just don't think I don't see that being the case. He's going to have some kind of he's going to have to let go of something in order to get this resolved, and you know, it is what it is. It's one thing, if you're in it on your own and you're not relying on everybody around you. Um, you can make all the demands that you want, but when you're relying on resources and money from every other country but yourself, and those countries are trying to help you resolve a problem, you know, I feel for all of them over there. I do. I can't even imagine being in that kind of position. Um, it's terrible. I'm not saying it's not. That's absolutely horrible. But um, you gotta come to the table and get it to end. You know. All right. Little push to the upside into this area of imbalance here. Um, nice rejection. I want to say this is probably about halfway through. Let's see here. Yeah, just about. Yeah, I don't know that we're done. honestly. You may have some choppiness today. Today is definitely a day where I would expect choppiness, um, because you have the FOMC meeting, conference and decision later this afternoon. So you will definitely have some choppiness. Where's market open? Right here. Okay. So this pink line here is, I should actually get rid of that because this I was using this as the lows of 2 days ago. Previous day, I was using it yesterday for that. Uh, let's take a look here. But it seems like price is still kind of hanging around there. But honestly, this isn't relevant right now. If we wanted to use lows of previous day, we got to move that to right there. And then highs of previous day will be right there. Okay. Make those little adjustments there. Zoom in, make this better. That's there. That's there. Okay. So highs and lows of previous day. All right. Let's see what we get. I would like to see the price come a little further into this area of imbalance here. We still have a lot to fill. But again, I would expect to get choppiness this morning and throughout the day a little bit. All right. Just scrolling through the news here in the Discord. See if anything pops out. Tesla got a permit or something signed to, it's like one of the first steps to start to I don't know, test or roll out the robo taxi in California. So they're Tesla's moving pretty bullishly on that news this morning. They're up a little bit. Let's actually take a look at what they're. Yeah, Tesla's up 3.5% so far, and that's why that Tesla's moving. They got some kind of go ahead as one of the first steps to start rolling out the robo taxi in California. Oh, and they got an upgrade in some Wall Street shop. It's probably because of that, honestly, that robo-taxi thing. Mm-mm-mm. All right. Okay, so breaking lows of pre-market here. Um, but again, we're kind of in this area where we're just heading back for this 19.5 zone that we consolidate around all the time. So this isn't really a great place to take a trade, at least to the downside anyway. We can see if we get a bounce. To be honest with you, I'm not actually expecting to take any trades today because I believe that there will be a lot of choppiness, at least the first thing in the morning, until in preparation for our FOMC data later. Although the market is expecting no change in rate. Can actually let's go take a look at that too and see if anything changed. We looked at it yesterday. It was 98% chance no change in rate. Let's let's take a quick look and see if anything has changed. I doubt it, but take a look. Take a look. Da, 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 da. Tools, Fed rate monitor. Yeah, we're still sitting at 98%. I tell you what, though, the one in May keeps creeping up. We're at 88.6% chance of no change in May also. So there really isn't any room for this particular one today to change, right? We're expecting no change. So if we get no change, I wouldn't expect any large reaction in the market. But what's interesting is as the market looks further out, the rate decision in May, which is the next one, May 7th, continues to creep up closer and closer to an almost guarantee that we're getting no rate change then as well. So we're at 88.6% today. Yesterday, I think we were at, it was either 83 or 86%. A couple days ago, we were at like 78%, 73% before that. So it's slowly creeping up to, the market's not pricing in any cuts anytime soon. The one in June is actually creeping up as well. That one's a little further away, obviously, but a lot can happen between now and then. But this just shows you what the market is currently pricing in the long run, right? So that's expectations for today. That's been expectations for quite some time. So we've already priced in a no change today. That's already been priced in, and that's why I believe we just get some choppiness because um, the agreement on the price between the bulls and the bears are already where we are. You know, yeah. I guess today there'll be some probably a lot of questions. Look at this choppiness. There'll be a lot of questions on the outlook for the Fed because that's where the uncertainty lies, is the future. So, with inflation still coming down, according to the data that we have right now, which is what they make their decisions on, supposedly, inflation is still coming down, job market is still solid. Um, So far the tariffs really haven't had any effect on anything. Although I don't even think if we keep talking about implementing them, pausing them, changing them. I don't even know where we are right now, but they haven't hit our economic data yet. So I would imagine there's going to be a lot of questions on the outlook for the Fed. That's where the uncertainty lies. Kind of a mixed market this morning. Yeah, so here's the little segment on Tesla. Tesla stock rose over 3% after the EV manufacturer took a step toward launching its long promised robotaxi service in California, securing the first of several necessary approvals. So move in the right direction. So they got a TCP permit, which is a transportation charter party carrier, which is typically issued for chauffeur driven services. This license allows the company to manage a fleet of vehicles and transport employees on scheduled trips. So that is a good start, right? Okay. So that's that. There's not really much else going on. Just Ukraine stuff. All right. See, choppiness. Choppy, choppy. It's not even volatility. Volatility is below 100. We're below 100 right now. That doesn't mean that that might not change throughout the day, but this is just choppy. And this is just because we got FOMC coming. So this is typical swings one direction, back in the other direction, back in this direction, especially in a day like today. Nothing worth trading. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think I have to adjust my camera a little bit. We'll do that later. Oh. All right. So, like I said, as a reminder that I will be live again this afternoon to catch the reaction of the rate decision at 2 p.m. And then we will hang out until and through the conference. I actually enjoy watching the conference and watching the reaction to, or that the market has to each individual question and answer. It's quite something to be a single person that can move something so large like the market based off of what you say. Isn't that something? All right, that's a nice push there. Maybe we'll get some new highs. The problem with this structure here, though, is even if you make new highs, you don't typically go much higher before you end up falling in the opposite direction. Uh, this structure here is not the greatest, especially with these large wicks here. You know, you can see that you're definitely getting some choppy. I don't want to call it volatility because technically we are lower on the volatility index, so it's not so much volatility. I think it's just what we call choppiness, and it's really just the bulls and the bears um, are maintaining the price in this area because that's where they agree. So let's see how much further we get with this. This is actually a good thing. I'd love to see us fill this area of imbalance here, and then I think we'll get a bounce back. That would be something that I would not mind trading. So we broke previous structure here. We have a little area of imbalance here, but I want to see us run and fill our larger time frame here. This actually looks very bullish, right? It's not too bad. Might actually have a little room to move to the upside. So, yeah, it's not bad. I want to see it fill and respect first. If we disrespect, then I can think we can think about maybe taking some longs up to previous day highs. So right now we've made new highs for today. Hmm, okay. See what we look like on the day. Yeah, I don't know. I think we still have room. See, this is it's all going to depend on what Mr. Powell says today. He could really push this market much lower today. It's going to be an interesting watch. Very nice, strong push up. Looks like we had a liquidity grab here. Pretty decent push down right after market open. This is market open candle right here. So not much of a push up. Definitely got some resistance here. You can see with these wicks. Strong push to the downside. Right back into our 19.5 range with an immediate push back to the upside. So this looks pretty decent. Nice push higher. New highs on the day. Now the question is, what kind of pullback do we get? Because if we get an immediate pullback that fills all of this, you know, again, we're just doing this. So, which is it is expected today. So I wouldn't, I wouldn't be surprised if we get an easy pullback down into this area here where we're retesting previous highs, then that could be a decent sign to take a long continued up to fill this area of imbalance, maybe. We do have, oops, now let's go here. Sorry. Yeah. Mm. There's not really any direction today, which is exactly what I expected, sideways trading. But if you look, we did break out of the range that we have been in throughout the day, breaking previous highs. We got a minute left in this 15-minute candle here, so let's see how that closes. Then I would expect the next candle to pull back a little bit. And we might run at least up to the higher end of this imbalance that was left behind yesterday with our drop. What I don't want to see is a fast fall back down. Excuse me. Okay. Nice continuation to the upside. Didn't get as much of a pullback as I wanted to see. At least not yet anyway. I hope this candle holds. If not, I think we come tumbling down here. Nice strong candle so far. Yeah. Didn't quite get the pullback that I wanted for an entry, so we're just going to let this run then. I think we're going to run, fill a little bit more of this imbalance, and we'll see how it reacts. Yeah, we're getting a little. All right, nice continuation. Yep. Nice momentum so far. Nice big strong push here. A little bit of a pullback, followed by another nice, very strong push, making new highs on the day. A little bit of a pullback, and we are continuing our strong push to the upside here. Very nice momentum by the bulls today so far. Let's see how far they go. Yeah, we still got some more to go. You can see here we had a decrease in volume as we were pulling back here, and now we're slowly increasing volume again as we're pushing up. See if we can maintain that. I think we still have some more highs here. Yep. We might be starting to tire out here. Yeah, a little less volume. Might be, we might have peaked out a little bit here. This might be, oh, okay. Nice push there. We're reaching. I think we're looking to fill the imbalance here, obviously. That's a obvious picture. I mean, we're getting pretty close here. This is actually, you can see here, big push, pull back, big push, push, pull back, not as high as previous ones. We're pushing, getting a little decrease in volume now. So we might be uh, getting to the top here. Let's see. Yeah, you can see volume is starting to slow a little bit, and we are starting to make smaller pushes with each pullback, right? So we might be getting into the top here. Let's keep watching. Yep, couple of final pushes. A little push on volume there too. Maybe we're getting a little second wind here. But you can see the candles are starting to get smaller also, right? We have these nice extended candles, small candles on the pullback, bigger candles, small candle in the pullback, but now we're getting smaller and smaller candles on the way up. So we are reaching, looks like a little bit of exhaustion here, unless we just hit a point where we take off again, which is possible, right? But that's why we wait for candle closes. But it looks like we are starting to tire out here to the upside. So If we push out of here, then we've just eaten up. Yeah, look at that. So this whole area of imbalance is now invalid. We took up all of it, and it used every bit of it to continue pushing up. Nice strong push. All right. A little bit of choppiness in the morning, grab some liquidity here, and now we've pushed right through our area of imbalance that was left behind a day ago. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday with our huge push down, right? So now we're coming right back to where we were. At this point here, if we close or if we continue pushing up, I would imagine we're reaching for highs from previous day, which is this line here. We might be able to reach that before FOMC. I would just be worried that we're going to get some kind of quick pullback with all of this, you know? Let's see what kind of candle we get here. Yeah, the bulls seem to still be in control here. So how high can we go? So let's mark out a couple things here. We did leave an area of imbalance way back here. I'm not sure if we're going to end up coming back to that. It might be later in the day. We also left one here. This is a stretch. This one kind of makes more sense. Right back to where we were market open, the New York session. You can see the 1 hour closed. Not sure what happened there, but this should have closed way up here. So that's very bullish there. We have taken up all of the imbalance that we left behind yesterday with our sell-off right in the morning. Same thing on the 4 hour. I'm not sure what's going on there, but this should have closed right there. But either way, we know what this looks like. So question is have we reached exhaustion here, and are we going to get our pullback now? Or do we maintain our momentum? Bulls are still holding strong. You can see this last push though here. Not so much volume compared. And it's hard to tell I mean, there's just a lot of volume in general, but that's New York session. But you can see that the volume is starting to build You'd want to say to the downside just because the color, but honestly, if you look at these wicks, we still have a lot of bulls coming in, right? So we're getting a little pullback, but the bulls are coming stepping up and pushing right back. So we might have a little bit more move to the upside. This was still a pretty strong push to the upside, minimal pullback. We didn't leave any imbalances behind up in this area here. So if we do get a drop, it's going to be a pretty quick drop, I'd say. But we definitely got some volume coming in now. Yeah, the bulls just are stepping up and coming right back in here. Mm. And now we look pretty similar here. I think nice value coming back in on this push here. Basically taking back everything that we lost yesterday. So we basically came right up to where we opened New York session yesterday and we just tumbled. Well, right at that same level, just below. So do we have enough to continue to the upside, or is that what we were reaching for today and now we're heading back? We didn't close outside of this area of imbalance yet. Yeah, I think we're coming back. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. We didn't get a fast pullback here. We get a nice easy pullback. Bulls are fighting. keep getting pushed back up here. The overall trend now, I'd say, is to the upside today. Before we were trading sideways, but we made new highs when we broke here, right? Came back, retested, strong push to the upside. Hmm. Volume building on the seller side. What do you think? Continued upside? How much more? Hmm. Yeah, we're starting to consolidate here now. It's honestly still bullish though, right? But we don't know where this is going to go yet. First two 15-minute candles look really nice. definitely more green than red now on in the Nasdaq altogether. Tesla's still pushing, Nvidia, Apple. Uh, yeah, I mean it's not a lot. Everything's right around a percent ish. Some outliers are up, but I don't know. We'll see here. I mean, a consolidation here actually looks pretty good for a continuation to the upside. I just worry that with FOMC today, we might get a push back down to where we started, which is not really out of the realm of possibility. You know, profit taking up here, I think is what's happening. Yeah, see, so we just broke these lows here. I think we might be pushing back to the downside. Um, hmm, see. All right. Yeah, I don't know. So, top here, lower highs, lower lows. What I like though is that this is a slow pullback. So I'm still bullish. See if we can't find somewhere to get in long. Again, like I said, the only thing that worries me is because of FOMC later today, you know, we could just be coming back to where we started here. Uh, Honestly, this so far is a nice healthy pullback after this long run. So long position would be more likely in this situation still versus a short. What's going on here? This could be your pivot point here. Come back to test this swing high here. See what happens. Either way, there's nothing here for me to get into according to my strategy. Um, I'd have to look for a price to come back into one of these areas here and hold. But I'd also expect some choppiness today too. So, which we did get here, but we made a nice, big, strong push this morning. That was nice. Volatility has been decreasing as this happened, which is a good sign too. I mean, we started off the day below 100 on the VVIX, so there wasn't really much volatility. This was just choppiness because of market open and FOMC today. But we made a really, really nice recovery from yesterday's sell-off. This is almost like the complete opposite of what happened yesterday. Um, so it looks pretty bullish still, you know. We got to let it play out. Gotta let it play out. Yeah. Yeah, decent pullback there. That's nice. Let's say this is a healthy pullback, a decrease in volume on the way, well, actually on the way up, a decent decrease in volume on the way up here. Hmm. Didn't leave any imbalances on the way down to play with. We didn't leave anything on the way up. This is the one here for this move. Ugh, excuse me. Oh, hey now. More downside incoming. Still waiting for this to play out here. Like I said, this could be a pivot point here. You know, retesting these highs back here. We are holding, you can see. This is nice. Break these highs here. But none of this has anything to do with my strategy, just observation. So um, if we could pivot here, and then we can, if we leave a area of imbalance behind on the way back up, then we can use that to continue new highs. But for me right now, we haven't left anything behind. This is a nice healthy pullback. Um, it's good that we didn't just get a quick drop back into these zones here. So still, like I said, bullish for me. Nice healthy pullback down to his previous swing high here. So if we can keep maintaining here and keep making new highs on the way back, then hopefully we can look for an entry to continue long. But again, there's that lingering, FOMC today. So really anything could happen. So we got back all of the loss that we had yesterday at market open. Because this is kind of where we started yesterday, New York session, and we tumbled all the way down to our 9.5, a little bit past that. Consolidated in this general area down here for the remainder of the day. Markets opened up again in previous sessions today, and we maintained that same range down around this 19.5. Pushed up a little bit higher, which is where we opened for New York session here. Looks like we had a nice little liquidity grab before we made our really, really nice strong push, getting back all of our sell-off from yesterday. So we made it right up to where New York session opened yesterday, just below. And so you can see we got resistance there. But this is a nice healthy pullback. Again, I like the fact that we didn't just drop from these tops here. So my instinct here is saying that, we're still bullish here. This is a nice healthy pullback, retesting these previous highs here. This is where we made new highs of the day, I'm pretty sure. So this makes sense here. We're starting to curl over a little bit, but I'd have to see some confirmation. Love to see a little area of imbalance left behind on our way back up here. Then I can use that to get in to continue going long. That's the plan right now. I mean, if we end up continuing to go south, I have these areas of imbalance here that I would need to see price come back to. But for those of you that trade with, strategy like this here, I don't even know if this is a strategy, but you can see that nice, healthy, slow pullback after our run this morning. Holding support here right at the top of this high. And we are starting to curl over. That doesn't mean that we can't just drop, but this looks nice. Still bullish. This whole thing still bullish, right? So definitely be looking for long still versus shorts. But FOMC day. So this is yesterday I mentioned the same thing. We had this strong push to the downside, which was the complete opposite of this, right? Let's just go so we can see. You see where we are here? This was market open, this candle right here. New York session open. And we just dropped, right? Consolidated around the 19.5 zone, which we do every time we hit it. All right. And I made this argument yesterday that why would there be a continued downside after this huge move right at New York session open, especially when we have FOMC the following day. So I stated that I'm pretty sure we're just going to consolidate in this area, which we did. Opened up today, previous sessions, made a little move up, but really not anything higher than what we did yesterday, right? Came right back down to the low end here. So we're just trading sideways, which is exactly what I was expecting. We have FOMC today. This morning, little push down. Looks like we grabbed some liquidity in this area here, and we made a very strong push back to the upside, completely taking back what we lost yesterday. So far, we've been moving slowly back down, which is a nice sign, although now we're starting to speed up a little bit here. But my argument is, why what's the reasoning for continued highs here, right before FOMC data, right? It just doesn't make sense. Um, it makes more sense to trade in here until we get that data at 2 p.m. You know, it's not to say that that's what's going to happen. I could be completely wrong. That's just my observation. This is a huge move for the Nasdaq, just like yesterday. That was a huge move to the downside for the Nasdaq in the first 15 minutes. Um, and there really isn't any particular piece of news or whatever that has come out, saying we need a sell off or saying we need a huge rally. So it just makes more sense that we're just range trading here again because we have FOMC today. So now this here, this makes sense that we're going to come back down to where we opened today or to the bottom of the range today, right? Uh, until we get our data. So I was expecting choppiness today. I wasn't expecting actually this big move here. This was really nice, unexpected. I was hoping that we were going to maintain here. Um, and we still might. This isn't some huge sell off here. We might just be coming back to our area of imbalance that we left behind here, and then we're going to continue up. But the likelihood that we trade sideways until FOMC today is, I think, the higher or more likely of the options. So even if price does come back in here, we're kind of in the middle of this range here, right? Which is a dangerous place to take trades. So I wasn't expecting to take any trades today because I knew we were going to get this sideways movement. So no loss, no gain, but I think that makes sense, play it safe, wait for the data to come out. Market's expecting and has been expecting no change today. So as long as we get that expectation, I don't see us making any kind of, huge move. You always get a reaction. But ultimately, I think, the market agrees on where we are right now as far as price. And yes, it's a, larger range, but still, um, we'll get some wild movements during the conference like we always do. But after that, you know, let's um let's see if we got any other data this week. Because after today, if we don't have anything huge, and I don't think we do because we've had a lot of data come out this month already. Yeah, Friday we have nothing. Tomorrow we have our normal continuing and initial jobless claims. Not a huge deal. Those would have to miss really, really big to one side or the other in order for that to have some, you know, bigger impact on the market. But we've been coming in at expectations for quite some time now. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, the only other thing maybe is the Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index. It's labeled as a medium impact. I don't know that that would have any kind of big impact on the market again, unless there's some kind of huge miss on the data. We have existing home sales. That one's a high impact. Could have an impact on the market. I don't know. Again, if all this stuff comes in or around expectations, I don't think we get any kind of huge impact to the market. If we get a huge miss at this point in any of this data, then I think you're going to see uh, bigger movements in the market. But as of right now, we get some mortgage rate data tomorrow also. But that's all very minimal stuff, you know. So what I'm saying is after today, after the market hears what it hears from Mr. Powell, uh, this might be your pivot point here. Um, I think maybe then, we'll maybe get some direction. It really depends on what he says today. Obviously, if he comes out pretty hawkish, we'll get some downside, and we have room to fall. If he comes out very dovish, we have room to climb. Um, if he comes out and doesn't really answer any questions and leaves the uncertainty, which it does a really good job at, because he doesn't speculate. That's the thing with him is he does a really good job of not speculating. And there's going to be a lot of questions about the outlook today, right? Because that's where the uncertainty is. There's going to be a lot of questions about tariffs and how the tariffs may or may not impact the outlook. And he's not going to answer it. He's going to, um, because he's you got to give him credit for he does a really good job at his press conferences and anytime he's out in the public, he does a good job of not answering things. Really he shouldn't be answering. He stays in his lane. Give credit where credit is due. So if we're left at the end of the conference today with more uncertainty, then we might see some downside afterwards. But you know, he has the power to move these markets with his words. It's quite something. If you think about it, let's sit and think about that. It'll be fun to watch, that's for sure. And I'll be here live. We'll be watching. It'll be fun to watch. The heat map is all gray for the NASDAQ. We're just sitting at break even today, all across the NASDAQ, which makes complete sense. This is what I was saying. Um, yeah, complete gray. Let me see if I can show. Hang on. Do I have that here? Oh, I don't have it on here anymore. Yeah. Actually, I can do it like this. Let's go over here. Let's go heat map. The NASDAQ. Let's do 1 hour volume. And this is what I am seeing. Boom. Gray across the board. Gray. Everything is waiting for FOMC today. Everything. I mean, it's like all of it. We're just sitting right at break even. A couple outliers here and there, but Tesla was up 3.5% this morning. And even that has come back to about break even because, you know, you got to wait for the FOMC. Got to see what Daddy Powell's going to say. Got to see what Mr. Powell's going to say. Yeah. I don't even know if I need to have TradingView open. I can have it open over here. So we're reaching our area of imbalance that we left behind this morning. Oops. Hmm. We are currently disrespecting just about. Huh. Yeah. Anywho, yeah, so we've disrespected this area of imbalance here, so we've already filled this. If we close outside of this, I'm going to take this out. Honestly, should also get rid of this big one here because we've already filled this too. So I'll tell you what, let's clear the screen. We filled our area of imbalance, so we can't use it anymore. We do have this one here that we're still respecting. Typically for me, and I've been kind of going back and forth about this with myself, when we wick outside of an area of imbalance that's in the opposite direction of the larger move, um, I don't take the trade because a lot of times price ends up coming back through, even if we get this, this look here where it looks like we're going to bounce. The problem with this is not this is like 50-50. So we didn't close in the rule that I use to use these areas as inverse is price needs to close outside of this area of imbalance in the opposite, you know, or in the direction, if that makes sense. Um, so I struggle because this looks nice, right? Um, but hmm, we got no volume coming back up here, no volume, and volume still decreasing. So there's no reason for me to think that this has any kind of chance of some kind of, larger move back to the upside here. It doesn't mean that this, coming candle, which actually looks It's moving nicely, but yeah, I just when this happens, I think it's just safer not to take the trade, honestly. And when I was back testing this strategy that gave me the 80%, I did not take the trades when this happened. So I wonder if I do take these trades, if my percentage of wins would decrease. Typically, if we come out of the area of imbalance here, um, I feel like we have pushed past, you know, support here. And see, this is exactly what's happening here. I don't like this. Yeah, 11 o'clock already. Man, that time went by quick. What did we do this whole time? Where did that go? It's been an hour and a half already. See, I wonder if we could. Yeah. If now you can use it as an inverse because we pushed through it essentially, right? But then where are we headed? Let's see if we even looked for half of this here. I mean, right now it looks really nice. Yeah, we're still holding here at the top. So this is no bueno. Hmm. Yeah, I don't. This actually does look like it might be turning, to be honest with you. Oh, we got this guy. Hey, see if that gets some respect. Gotta keep the eyeballs open, right? That was my mistake before. We didn't leave anything else, but this was nice. Nice push through. Nice little area of imbalance there. Let's see if this holds. Now the question is do we use this as an inverse? This was market open right here, New York session, right there, which we basically came right back down to, retested a little double bottom here, push back up. Yeah. See what price does here. I mean, that looks nice. So what I'm looking for is a close outside of this area of imbalance on the high side, because I think that would give confirmation that we might be turning here. Came back to New York session open, tested it twice. We moved back out, came into this area of imbalance here, which is bearish, and there's our close outside. I'm going to try a little trade here. See if we can head back up. Really nice push to the upside. It's beautiful. Nice solid close. I'm going to take profits here. I'm not going to be greedy. Take a little 1-to-1. If we didn't have FOMC today, I would let this run back up to previous highs. I'm just gonna. I've in the past I've lost gains, especially on days like today. So I'm not going to be greedy. Take a little 1-to-1 trade there, uh, and wait to see what happens. Can always get back in, right? But I'm going to take my profits. I'm going to leave those there so that we can talk about it later. I am going to mark this area of imbalance out. So what we could do here is if we get a continued push or we get a pullback into this area of imbalance here and we respect, then this gives us even more confirmation that we could continue to the upside. So we could get back in here. So made a nice move up. This was a beautiful setup. I'm super proud of myself for this, to be real honest with you. because I waited price to come back into this area of imbalance that was left behind earlier this morning. We took 2 tries at it. We got rejected here, which was basically right at New York session open. We pushed back out. Again, I still waited for confirmation, saw that we had a nice area of imbalance here, bearish, but used it as an inverse. We got our close outside of this area of imbalance, took the trade at the close here. Stop loss would be below this area of imbalance. And then we made a very, very nice move pretty much immediately right out of this area of imbalance here. And once we hit these lows here, that was a 1-to-1 trade. I took the 1-to-1. Good with it. I took the 1-to-1 today because it's FOMC day. And honestly, anything can happen. On a regular day where we're sitting with volatility, which is below 100, which means, you know, we're not in our caution zone anymore. We're outside of the caution zone. On any other day, if we didn't have the FOMC lingering over our head today, I would have let this run right back to previous highs. Totally, with what we have here, this is a nice, normal, healthy pullback into our area of imbalance. Double bottom, nice push right back out of it. Beautiful setup here. Super proud of this trade today. Very, very proud of this. We did leave another bullish area of imbalance here. So if we come back into this and we respect this, we could end up taking a trade to continue long. I don't know that I'm going to today, honestly. I might just leave it where it is. We got our trade in for the day. One and done. I'm cool with that. Beautiful trade, beautiful setup. Saw the signs, took it. All the boxes were checked off. And now we'll wait for Daddy Powell to come out and destroy the markets. Now, who knows what he's going to do, right? And this is it. This is exactly what I would expect to see here. I would expect to see we are going to push right back to highs, honestly. And again, on any other day, or maybe if I was already profitable, I would have let that run right back to highs of the day. But being where I'm at currently in my journey and with FOMC hanging over our heads today, I'll take the profits. I'll take the 1-to-1 trade. Totally cool with that. I don't need to be greedy. I just need to pass the challenge. So little by little, we move up, we pass the challenge, then we can make these bigger decisions. Little by little piece by little piece. That's all we need. That is all we need. Let me, I'm actually going to mark this out here. So we took the trade. I think we got in right about here. Stop loss was here. And we took our profits at a 1-to-1 right there. Yeah, right at the bottom there. Yeah. I am more than happy with this particular trade today, especially on today. Wasn't expecting to take a trade, but the opportunity presented itself. And, I've said in previous videos and to myself many, many, many times, don't think. If your boxes are checked off and the opportunity presents itself, take the opportunity. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, because whatever your strategy yields as a win to loss ratio, you are going to lose that many times, right? This particular strategy, when I back test it, it's 80%, but 20% of the time, even with all of my boxes checked off, it is going to fail. But if I just, and that's the thing that I noticed in the back testing, there's no feeling behind it, right? Because it's not real. And that's the problem with paper trading and all this stuff. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. You should all start with paper trading. I did for an entire year. But the downside to those things, even back testing, is there is absolutely zero emotion involved. And then when you come onto the real charts, the emotion is there, and there's no practice with your emotions unless you're in the real thing. And unfortunately, that costs money. Um, so when I back test and there's no emotion involved and I just get into the trade every time it presents itself, it's an 80% win rate. So what I need to transition to is having that same mentality in the live charts, and just let it happen. So that's what I did this morning. We saw this happen. I'm so glad that I caught this live today. This is beautiful, and this is exactly how my strategy works. Beautiful, beautiful setup. Absolutely beautiful. Yep. Awesome. Good stuff. I'm gonna take a little screenshot for the Discord of the trade here. We'll bring it back so that everybody can see the full range here. Yeah, we'll take a little screenshot. We'll post that in the Discord as our win for today on FOMC day. Woohoo! That's a win. Pat myself on the back for that. And we're going to end it right here. Yeah, we're going to end it on a high note. Beautiful. I will be back at 1:55 this afternoon to watch the market reaction for our FOMC Fed rate decision. And then we will hang out together and we will watch Daddy Powell come out and either lift up the markets or destroy them. All right. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Link in the description for my free Discord. Join the Discord. We're building a awesome community. Love to see you guys there. And I will be back at 1:55 this afternoon. Come and join us. Talk then.